Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to open up to questions. Melissa, you out there with me?
I am. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
How's audio sounding today?
Way better. You are not
Okay.
in a tunnel of garbled something.
Well, if we get there, then we'll just plan on doing a call into the bridge again, and we'll go that way with it. But okay, let's see here. We've got some really good questions.
Great. I got my pen and paper up, but I want to log into the admin. It's my last day. Oh, let me give you guys those days. It's not our last day together. I have more stuff scheduled. So hold on. I like to get into the admin so I can hear what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
Haha, here I was. Okay. Okay, this is really good. Okay, yeah, this is great to ask about that. So hold on a second. Okay.
Everybody's questions in here.
That's awesome. So hold on one second. Yeah. I love this. I'm going to get that. Melissa, make sure we address every template.
They're not really referring to templates, though. It's just the way you format the report.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
let's make sure we get a good list of those, because just like the process maps, if it is available as a template, just do not. I'm going to tell you guys right now. If I give you guys Excel templates, do not you dare send some email to support saying, I can't get this template to load and I don't know what do I do with it? Do not do that, because I have to read those and say, well, dude, this is Sheets. I don't know. I put it up. I hope it works, right? So if I give you my templates, we can't support the templates. You know what I mean? Like the templates are just Sheets. You can model them, mock them, look at them, copy them, steal them, use them as what I gave them to you in step-by-step. Step-by-step shows you how to build these sheets. But I'm happy to share my Google Sheets with you guys. I use them like clockwork. I love Google Sheets. But please do not be like, what's going on in Sheet? Because then I'm like, I don't know what's going on in your sheet. I'm not on your computer. So I would love to share them. So give me a list of what you guys want on those Google Sheets right now. Start typing them in. Melissa, queue those up in a separate tab and we will get you a little template section.
For sure. Yeah, they're just they're pretty general that says, can I get Google Sheet templates? And I had explained to a couple of people that, it is a report that she's downloaded from Amazon Seller Central when you're looking at that book download or the STR, and it's formatted. So there really isn't, it's not like a plugin. You know what I mean, Sheree? It's not a plugin where you could plug in information to it. It's just the report that's formatted.
Yeah, Melissa's definitely giving you guys the right clarification, Melissa. Thank you. The problem with our reports is that we format files that are already coming into us. We don't plug the data into our template. But if you want a template, to model, which means you can look at mine and then take your own bulk download and start slicing and dicing it to model it, that's going to be the best you're going to get. We never go and plug it into our template. Instead, we do the bulk download and we do the steps. Now, you're going to get a step-by-step guide on the bulk download, how to sort and organize it, just like you have the search term report. But, some of these other templates are just simply how we format the data coming out of Helium 10, how we format the data coming out of WordTree. I'm happy to share them. Now, one thing I do build from scratch is the campaign outline, and I am going to share that with you guys. I use campaign outlines a ton, and I think that will be really useful to you guys. So yeah, templates will all be there for you to model. Just know that, exactly like Melissa said, what happens is we take the report out of Seller Central, and then you can make it match ours. And so hopefully your step-by-step guides will help you through that. But if there is something in those that don't make sense, there's a lot of steps that, maybe we just clean up the data pretty much. But I can definitely try to do, yes, I will share what I can and everyone can make sense of it from there.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing that for you, Sheree, for a while, and that's really, it's downloading, and it's essentially the biggest thing is you change it to Arial and 10 point in the font, and it makes it look so much prettier than when you first download it.
You get a lot of headers out. You get a lot of things out. Yeah, so that's a good one. Okay, so yeah, let's go in and dive into our questions. I don't think that that we have. I think that was my only housekeeping stuff.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so the first question, and we got asked this twice during the class. So they're wondering, what date range do you use when working in the bulk download? What time frames are you using?
60 days always. I do my search term report and my bulk download at 60 days sorts. That's what Amazon allows you to do, right? I probably would do more of a 90-day if it gave me the option, but it doesn't. I just do the 60. 60-day, it's as far as you can go back in the Amazon reporting system at this point in time. I go 60 days back. I do it every 30 days.
Right. And then expanding on that bulk download here, it says, in the monthly bulk download for moving keywords to buy and setting the max CPC, do you just drop the bid abruptly? For example, if the keyword was running at $5, but you calculate the max CPC should be $1.50, do you literally move the keyword to buy and drop the bid directly from $5 to $1.50?
Yeah, because you're giving up on that keyword. Let's get strategic there so we understand what's happening here with these keywords. These keywords are coming in at 134% ACoS. They are requiring 17 clicks to get a sale, and they are well designed, beautiful products. So what's happening is, because of all the different style options and it being a mother-daughter thing, it's just getting shopped and searched. And if it's a mother-father thing, we know it's getting 17 clicks, right? If dad's out there searching for those leotards, we know it's probably getting like 35 clicks. So no matter who shops for these darn leotards, they're clicking. So what we have here is, we go in and no matter what we do, it's gonna run up the bill. We just can't afford 17 clicks at any market, So I have to give up on this keyword in terms of a scale or a rank strategy. And I literally have to say, the most I can pay for this keyword with this conclusive data of how many clicks it takes me to get a sale. We know it takes us 17 clicks on this specific keyword to get a sale. We know we can only pay 71 cents. So at that point, yes, I'm going to just take that 20% buffer and I'm going to bid 85 cents and done. Call it a day. I've got to give up on that keyword. I give up on the keyword from a ranking standpoint. So yes, abruptly do it.
And then with the bulk download, so if you have a brand new campaign that's only 30 days old, is there no point in doing a bulk download until you hit 60?
No. Every 30 days. So take the data that you can take and run it every 30 days. Get in the habit of doing that, because you're going to catch stuff in here. If you're catching stuff at 134% ACoS, if you're catching stuff with 39 clicks, there's no harm in pulling it, because the bulk download is seriously just there for you to cap. It's a spend management tool, but the main spend management comes out of those weekly optimizations. And this is really just a buffer to know what to do with the big keywords that drive orders but don't convert at our target.
All right. And do you manage bids for the competitors' ad group at the keyword level or at the ad group level? So in your competitors' ad group, where are you managing those bids?
Competitor, I'm doing an ad group bid for scale, and the keywords that work, and the keywords that don't get paused.
Okay. Let's see, here's another question.
With your competitors, there's no reason to start. You're not going to try to build sales history on their keywords. Don't let anyone BS you and tell you that matters. Sales history is about relevance. Sales history is about you showing that you can convert and you've got better game than the competition when it comes to sales. So, sales history is just that. It's a game of like, I sell good. This sells good. I win on this. So when it comes to your competitors' keywords, you're not winning on them ever. Right? We know that they're your competitors' keywords. People are preferentially looking for the competitor. So we're not trying to build sales history on our competitors' keywords. So if the keyword does not, for me, competitors' keywords, and you guys saw some huge velocity out of those campaigns, they're either sink or swim. To me, it's like a keyword is it works or it doesn't. 10 clicks, 0 orders, I kill it. Above 50% ACoS, I kill it. Like, competitor keywords for me are just like you either sink or swim.
In the pause keyword section of the weekly optimization, are you saying that if a keyword is driving high volume but is above ACoS, to just let it run for the whole 30 days? Because what if the ACoS is crazy high at 100%? Even with high sales volume, it could be too expensive to sustain for the full 30 days.
Yeah, if you've got that situation, that's really where you're going to have to take those instance by instance, because we would hope that wouldn't happen. Because when you get at ACoS above those percentages you guys saw with the epoxy, you saw with the bubbles, that's not the standard situation. So when you have keywords that are hitting that kind of ACOS, that is not a good sign. It's a sign that you have a conversion issue, a cost issue, a margin issue. The issues that are going on behind those high ACOSs are not campaign structure problems. So really, you're going to need to quickly cap your bids or quickly move those keywords. You're just going to need to cap them. You're going to need to, if I were running a lot of keywords at that kind of ACOS, and you didn't have time between like your 30-day optimization cycle, you just are going to need to take your ad group level bids and start ratcheting them down, right? And you're going to need to take those on an instance by instance situation. But normally, like I had talked about in the study guide that I'm actually giving out today, the study guide that I finished doing the text on yesterday is about campaign pausing and keyword pausing. And the bottom line is when you get over those ACOS thresholds, the keyword has a major problem. It's a relevance issue. It's a conversion issue. It's a margin issue. And honestly, that it's going to be salvaged, but it's never going to serve you well.
Okay, can you please recap how you are identifying new keyword modifiers from the STR? Are those not the same thing as the search terms with 3+ orders that you move into scale? And what is the difference? I know it was covered previously, but I'm unable to find it.
No worries. Yeah, we can cover it right now. So if I'm in an STR, this is a great example because I have one done here. Okay, so if I'm looking at keyword modifiers in the STR, there is a difference. Okay, so when I did my initial keyword research, you guys, we went through it together, right? We started at our competitors and we worked our way down into relevance. We found out what was relevant, what was ranking with competitors. We go into Helium 10. Like I had mentioned before, all the good keyword tools on the market use Amazon data. So just pick the tool that you like the tool set best, that you like the price best, that you like the company best. There's some killer keyword tools on the market. I'm a huge fan of Helium 10 and Manny Coates. I consider Manny a friend. I consider Kevin King a friend. I love those guys. I'm a huge fan of Viral Launch. I consider Casey one of the sharpest guys I've ever met. Absolutely awesome software guy. I'm a huge fan of Viral Launch. I think WordTree is well built and well designed, and I like it because it gives me the 10 competitor ASINs. Anything that gives me competitors, I'm going to like. So those are the kind of tools that I use. So you get into your keyword tool, and we start in that keyword tool, and we say, okay, where are we at here with these keywords? So you don't really know. You guys know from our classes that I'm looking for modified search. I know I have to win in these red oceans on Amazon. I have to carve out a blue sea. I cannot come through the Red Sea. I've got to make a blue space. So for me, I'm looking at where I'm going to come in and get some blue ocean. So blue ocean is best secured in the midtail. It's best secured on modified search where your features and benefits define your product. Even if it's as simple as a color query, if you can find one keyword to latch on into the midtail that gives you a differentiating point, you're going to win sales, you're going to break even, you're going to get velocity. It's a great ad strategy. With that in mind, I get into these kind of broad keyword tools like Helium 10, and I put in a keyword like leotards for girls, gymnastics leotards for girls, right? I'm starting up in this kind of, I've already got, I'm not just saying leotards. I've added one modifier, which is for girls. I've added another modifier, which is for gymnastics, right? So this is a well-designed keyword query. But when I start to pull my customer search terms, I see here that the majority of my keywords that are doing well, I'm also getting a few sales on teen, right? There's another midtail modifier. I'm also getting a couple sales here if I use them together, right? I've only got one sale, which isn't conclusive data. But if I'm just looking for trends, I can kind of see that I'm also doing well in little girl, right? Like maybe my competitors haven't tackled teens or little girl. I'm not going to get a ton of velocity there, but you can see my ACOS is a little more favorable. So with those now, I'm going to go into the keyword tool like Helium 10, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of research, only I'm going to say, okay, what about little girl leotards, little girl gymnastics? What about teen leotards, teen gymnastics, right? I'm going to start to look a little bit further and see if I could find more midtail variations that have converted to sales for me. See, here she is again, little girls. Maybe her style is just super popular with little girls. Or mama's shopping for a little girl. So when I look at this, I say, okay, there's a trend here. You know what I mean? Like there's enough of a little bit of a trend. I mean, this is better than no trend. I mean, you open up Helium 10 and it gives you all the search volume, but you know nothing about how they're going to buy your product. This is at least data that you know they're buying off your page. So with this, I'm going to say, maybe I go find more little girl keywords. I find more teen keywords. So yes, when I go talk about modified search and the midtail, I'm talking about using your search term report all the time, every month, to see if you can find new kind of, trails to profit. If there are new keywords that you haven't discovered, new variations that are converting for you, and then going back to like a marketplace data tool that will give you all the variations of that are searched, test those in shop, see if you get some more winners.
All right, let's see here. Okay.
Go ahead. Smile commented about, Manny and Kevin. I did a session in the Illuminati for Kevin and Manny. It was a blast.
Mm-hmm. I remember you being very excited about that one when you were doing that.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Guys. They're really sharp traffic guys. They understand traffic more than anyone. Not anyone. They're one of the top traffic guys. They get it as much as anyone can get traffic in the space like me. They really get it, and we all like it equally. There's, when it comes to traffic, there's a lot of strategies, but Kevin is definitely a maverick and very traffic focused and very sharp.
Okay, this one's a bit of a long one. There aren't any metrics, but it is a bit of a long question here. On the optimization workflow diagram under the weekly section, you're saying to decrease ad group bids to lower the ACoS if a given keyword is above the ACoS. So are you saying, for example, if a single new keyword that you're trying in the shop ad group, if the ACoS is too high that you lower the bid in the shop group overall, even if the other keywords in the group are under target ACoS, wouldn't that jeopardize the rank for the other keywords in the shop group? Why not just move it to a single keyword into buy and manage the bid at the keyword level?
You would. So if you have one keyword that is doing that, that's exactly why you use a bulk download file. Exactly why. If you have one keyword that is problematic, you're going to move it, right? That's without question. You're going to do it in buy. You wouldn't jeopardize the whole group. You never jeopardize the bids in scale. You would never jeopardize those bids. But the deal is some campaigns, like the one that we just looked at, this is just an overall, like this is where it's different. I wanted to show you guys two dramatic kind of examples of target ACoS. This campaign is a perfect example of, man, I've only converted of all my sales orders. Come up here and sum this. I've only converted 35 orders within my target ACoS. But then I come down here, these are all ones, right? I come down here and the majority of my orders, this is just like an average thing, right? Majority, 158 of my orders are significantly above ACoS. So when I look at this, I've got all ad groups are kind of coming in above ACoS, right? In this one, I've got, my singles are above ACoS. My browse is above ACoS. My shop is above ACoS. So really all of my ad groups just need to be reduced. This is not a situation where single keywords are problematic. It's like the majority of my sales are coming in above ACoS. So the majority of my bids need to be lowered, right? Now, in the second instance, like we did over here with Lizitards, these are more like, okay, we have keywords that are very problematic coming in at high ACoS and high orders, and they need to be kind of moved into a buy strategy, right? So it is going to be one or the other. So you're going to find that if all of your ACoS is above, you just need to be kind of pruning down your ad group bids and getting this kind of overall campaign thing working for you. But if you're getting like problematic keywords, like you just outlined, like one keyword in shop is doing sketchy stuff, that needs to be moved into buy. So that is what the strategy is for, is to cap problematic keywords that have high volume, moving to buy, and still building sales history without plugging them and pausing them. That's what the buy strategy is for. But once you move into buy, you've conceded them. And no, you only want to adjust the full ad group if the majority of your sales are coming in above ACoS. Then it's just an ad group kind of overall product issue. You need to just kind of lower the bids and keep everything balanced. And then if you have a single problematic keyword, you want to move it to buy.
All right. And next question here. In the campaign optimization process, you talk about testing new keyword modifiers in shop monthly. Is it okay to assume that if I use Helium 10 and I search for the main keyword, the related words to come out are considered modifiers that can be used in shop for the main keyword?
Can you go through that one more time? I might have missed the point on that. One more time?
Yeah. In the campaign optimization process, you talk about testing new keyword modifiers in shop monthly. So is it okay to assume that if I use Helium 10 and I search for the main keyword in the related words, so quote related words, Those that come out are considered modifiers that can be used in shop for the main keyword.
I'm not understanding that. Sorry. I wish I wrote it down. I'm not understanding what they're saying. So you would go into Helium 10, you would pull new modified keyword variations and just test them in shop as broad and exact.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting out of this. So the words that come up, related words, the keywords that come up for related words, they can be considered modifiers used in shop.
Well, no, not related. You're literally you're using the filter. Thank you, Melissa. You're using the filter in Helium 10 to say, give me keywords that include, where is this at? Give me keywords only. You know how you use the filter to, this query should include the word, right? Includes this word, includes this phrase. You only want to include little girl and you want to include teen. So there's separate searches. Like you're only going to put keywords in shop now that include this particular modifier, not related, not keywords related to little girl gymnastics leotards. You've already got all those. You're trying to say, I want only keywords that contain little girl, only keywords that contain teen related to either leotard or, right? So leotards plus teen, leotards plus little girls. You're not going to be going in and saying, give me everything related, because then you're going back in that circular pattern of testing a bunch of stuff that we don't know how it works. We know little girls is converting. We got 3 sales here, 2 sales. And then we know for sure that the teens converting, we got 3 sales. So we're just going to try to see if those are kind of scent trails into more keywords.
Okay. In an auto campaign, if it's getting impressions and clicks but no orders, do you raise your budget or what do you do with it?
Raise your budget. Did you say getting impressions and clicks in auto?
It's in an auto campaign. It's getting impressions and clicks but no orders. Do you raise your budget or what do you do?
I mean, if you're getting clicks and no orders, it's probably problematic, because we know when the trend starts, it stays there. There's only 2 things you can do with an auto campaign. It's a push-pull, like a 1-2 punch, right? If you're going to increase, you don't increase the budget, you increase the bid. Budgets do nothing but tell the algorithm you're going to spend all day. A budget just tells the algorithm that you can play in the game. So your budget is already going to be uncapped, and you're going to be managing your costs through bidding. Right? So we don't manage our costs through budget. We manage our costs through bidding. But you can, if you have a campaign that's just building sales history and not driving velocity for you, of course, you're going to cap budgets because you're just using it as a sales history tool. But in our strategy for scale, you're definitely going to up the budget. So regardless of what you do with the budget, you would increase your bid in auto to see if you can drive more. But clicks and no sales is a bad indicator. Right? Clicks and no sales is an indication that it's not going the right direction. So anytime you have a significant number of clicks, and on Amazon, it doesn't take a lot of clicks to get significant because the click sale ratio is so high. So anytime you have a lot of clicks and no sales, that's bad. So if you're seeing that already, it's probably going to keep trending that direction, unless you do the punch where you come in and add a lot of negatives and start to change the direction of where the ads are displaying. If you can find a negative strategy by pulling something like a single word like leotard or a single word like gymnastics, or you can get into a tool like Yassive, like we've talked about, you can get in there. And you can kind of say, okay, where is in this market could this ad be showing up that's not converting for me? And you could start to filter. You could start to filter specific competitors' brands if that's not working. You could start to, or you don't think it's going to work. You could start to filter kind of keywords that are not relevant. You could take a word like leotard straight through a tool and find all the kind of generic searches for leotard that don't apply to your product. All the style searches for leotard that don't apply to your style. You could take things like, gymnastics and take some broad terms and get them out of there. So if you can change the course of the auto campaign targeting with a heavy list of negatives, there's a chance that auto will turn around. But if you're already getting clicks and no sales, then no fun. That's pretty much headed in a bad direction. And there is a chance, though, that the right negative mining and the right phrase match negatives will kind of change the course of that a bit.
All right. And if an auto campaign doesn't produce any sales at all, is that a bad thing? I mean, is that something they should just abandon the auto campaign?
Yeah,
Or
you
how
just shut
should
it down. I mean, all traffic is interesting when you can afford it and it has to work for you. It's only good, it's a good deal if you can buy it at the right price and it could do the right things for your business. So yeah, if auto doesn't work, it doesn't work. It does not work for every product. I have products that are scaling to millions of dollars a month that we don't run auto on. And then I have other campaigns that are doing, several $100,000 a month that auto is half the sales. So just depends on how your campaign is going to roll. Every single product converts differently. Every competitive market is differently, right? So, I mean, this would be another good example. You might say, man, my competitive strategy isn't working. Well, on this one, it would be very hard because every competitor you tag has a completely different style than you. So how in the world would we be able to take a mom considering the rhinestone style and then take her over here to look at this style? So, your competitor strategy might not work, but also your competitor's organically ranked on page 1. So you tag their pages and then people go back around, they're going to see them again in search. So there's a million reasons a competitive strategy wouldn't be good on these two products because there's a problem. Same thing here. You could target competitors all day long, but there's no way for the shopper to differentiate. None. There's no way for a shopper, and do I know shopping and I know sales? There's no way for just your average layman shopper to understand the difference in these products. So they're all look very similar. So yeah, could you hit Chef Part and Molly Malone in Elated Home? Absolutely not. You'd have a very hard time converting those. So yeah, it kind of depends on what you're doing in terms of your overall strategy. If the competitive targeting, is really going to work in terms of the auto campaigns and competitive keywords. So sometimes auto campaigns don't work because of situations like that.
Okay, and Finor wanted to clarify his question about the modifiers here. So they're saying clarification. So if they go to helium-10, they search for a keyword, which is sunscreen, and then the system will give you related words like facial, teen, body, etc. Can you use these keywords, and can be considered modifiers to be added to the shop keyword sunscreen?
If you were going to test new modifiers and you were doing a brand new test, so you have no data, so you're saying, I'm just doing my helium-10 keyword research and I've gone through and I've searched for sunscreen. I'm going to try some modifiers. I'm going to try face. I'm going to try the ones that I think are relevant. That's one way to do it. But when you're going back and you're using a true modifier, face is the modifier, not sunscreen. So you'd have to put in helium-10 sunscreen searches. You could do it in the filter right there. Sunscreen, and in the keyword research doc, we show you exactly how to set those filters in keyword research, the PDF. You would set the filter to include the word face, only because you had seen data here that the word face worked for you. So you knew the word face worked and you saw that it was converting orders in your good ACOS. You saw it coming across multiple queries, real search terms. Then you go back to the keyword tool, and instead of just saying, give me everything for leotards, those aren't modified. Leotards are not a modified search. You're going to say, give me every leotard query that only includes the word teen. And then on the second search only includes the word little girl. So you're looking very specifically at the modifiers within the campaign based on your search terms that are showing you how people are buying. So you're not saying to helium-10, oh, I want to test all these new modifiers like face and blah, blah, blah. You're only going to use face as a modifier if you've seen conclusive data in your search term report that it's actually converting sales.
All right. Can you explain again why to pause keywords with 1 to 2 orders? Why wouldn't you just move them to buy and lower the bid?
Because they're just not worth, you only have so much bandwidth in your universe, right? And 1 order on Amazon is useless. I mean, it does nothing for your velocity. It does nothing for anything. And if you have a better keyword with good history, and it also, if you have 1 order and these, high ACOSs, most likely you aren't more relevant than the competition on that keyword anyway. Most likely it's not a competitive play. There's just no reason for you to manage that in your life in terms of things that you're going to do with your time. The win on that is going to be so low key. If you have an endless amount of time, I mean, thinking about it this way, here's another reason if I could put it here. Let's just go here. I think I can add this up. Hold on. Where am I at? Am I at bulk download, October? Okay, stuff that I have paused. Here we go. This is why I don't care about this. Some. The keywords are going to result in $251 in sales at these, like, whatever I've got here, and $341 in spend. I'm going to save myself $341 out the gate, no questions asked, by shutting them down. I've only made 251 in sales at a loss. Once I cap the bids on these, if I got 2 orders and I cap the bid from $3 to 66 cents, let's just assume it cuts my orders in by 5. I'm maybe going to keep that keyword running and I might convert. Maybe. I don't think anything will happen. I don't think I'll get any traffic on it that matters. So to me, strategically, there's no huge win in that. I'm far better off to go figure out which products will scale, which products can be restructured for higher conversion. There's bigger kind of things I can do with my time than try to manage a keyword that's converting 2 or 1 order. You could move it to buy if you want, but it's just one more thing that you have to manage. That's got a lower bid on it, and it could actually continue to get high ACoS. That's not a given. And it's most likely not going to be a huge win at the end of the day.
All right. We have a question related specifically to the company that we had covered today. So let's see if we can answer this here. What is the company Lizatard supposed to do once they paused up and dropped massive impressions on all their keywords in regards to leotards? Is there not much they can do?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's all they can do is use this for a really good play at sales history with the right keywords. There's not going to be any scale in those particular products. Focusing on organic rank is also another key one, but keeping their ad history. They need the advertising. They have no first page position. They have no sales history. You will drop off the planet on Amazon if that's the case. So they need some of this history. They need to keep fresh with the algorithm with those keywords. But yeah, there's nothing they could do to scale there.
Right. Next question here about the measuring cups. Would you recommend to a seller to just not do PPC or not sell a product?
That would be a business decision, not an ad decision.
To not do PPC. So is there any, about the measuring cups, would you recommend to the seller to just not do PPC?
No, I think you need sales history. I think with this kind of a market, even though it's completely saturated, how else are you going to build? I mean, like I said, this campaign is not terribly far off. I mean, it's got the majority of sales are coming in at a high ACoS. I give it that, right? No fun there. I'm reminding this tomorrow. They're coming in at high ACoS, but if I look at this, man, okay, my average CPC is coming in here 223. I need to be at 136. I mean, overall, my average CPC is not so crazy that I can't lower my ad group bids and just take the traffic I can get. Now, with this, it's not going to drive velocity. But if you don't have any keyword history or any keyword visibility, once again, your ads have done the thing that you need more than anything, is put you on page 1. I mean, this is a red ocean, but you're on page 1. So I assume there's some organic sales behind this. There is organic sales behind this. So, you need those sales to move the product in some capacity. So would I do it? I would do the strategy, but I would be completely diligent about keeping low bids across all ad groups and just trying to get the sales history and the sales I can to keep the product live and get as many sales as I can for it. But yes, when we get to product research, I'm going to go ahead and teach a class on that probably early December at this point with everything we have going on. I'm going to give you guys some dates on Q&As too. I should do that. No, but I'll post it somewhere too. If we were doing product research, I would absolutely not be interested in this product. I would not, no, because of this particular situation. But that's, if the product is there and it's moving, you got to decide how you're going to sell it, how you're going to distribute it, what the next play is, all very business decisions to be made. But from a pure advertising standpoint, I probably would have not.
All right. Robert's got a question here, again, in regards to the example from today. So I'm going to not say this correctly either. The Bahulu leotard, that one, the other brand, wasn't using parent-child relationships or things and reaping the benefit in the search, hitting multiple spots on that main keyword being a shop rather than a buy keyword. If a company has around 200 variations of styles for leotards, would it be better to group them in smaller sections if they were from similar collections? Examples being animal print, sparkles, sleeveless, etc., and allow those groups all to hit multiple spots on the shop searches because you can't easily advertise there?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible to do that. That's a fantastic point. But the thing is, yes. I mean, again, like to me, the first and foremost would be this bestseller would have its own page. Without question, this bestseller should have its own page. And then how she groups the other variations is going to be how she decides to do it strategically. If you're talking organic rank, right? If you're talking just organic rank, how you group those is going to be completely, like you're saying, it's going to benefit from multiple placements if they get enough velocity to rank on their own. So when you start talking about segmenting all the different styles onto their own pages, you're going to be better with a strong, parent ASIN if it can get more velocity, because all these pages need velocity. That's the only thing that will rank them anywhere on any keyword. Now, the only thing that will kind of change that is if, unlike this product, here's where where you can control this. So if this product had like people searching in high volume for a rhinestone gymnastic leotard in blue or a leotard with scales, people aren't searching for these in volume. So you could put these keywords in. I see what you mean. You're going to get some organic rank for the product. You can kind of segment them down and focus on the modifiers. If the shoppers are using those modifiers at scale, that will benefit you. Something like we're talking about towels, and you have blue, white, and gray, very distinct search modifiers. People use them at scale. You can capitalize at scale. If you come in here and they don't use these keywords at scale to shop, you will still struggle to rank because something has to push velocity to get the organic rank.
All right. And Banwert's got a question here. He says, I searched for skinny jeans on Amazon. The top 4 sponsored positions are held by 4 different styles of Levi's skinny jeans.
Yes.
If you only have one ASIN in an ad group and only use the keyword skinny jeans with a specific match type in a single campaign or ad group, how would you accomplish this?
Well, normally in most categories, you aren't going to accomplish it anyway. So if you saw that happen for Levi's, that's just a complete anomaly. You as an average advertiser with a regular budget are not going to accomplish that in 2018, much less 2019, much less 2018 holiday. Amazon at this point is growing their ad business very aggressively. I was in the early days of Google, like early beta, beginning of time, Google AdWords. They changed dramatically and they're trying to get as much real estate. Even Google used to have, remember the ads on the sidebar? They are trying to get real estate sold to get the platform growing. Facebook does it between the newsfeed. Like that's part of advertising, is selling this, getting the real estate maximized. So Amazon is not, when it's trying to get more advertisers in the game. They have a sales team. You guys know it. They're emailing you. They want sellers to advertise. They are in no way going to hand all the top positions to one brand. So we'll search on skinny jeans here in a separate, in this view. But as you can see here, they've got K-Wear, Chef Part, Molly Malone, and Elated. At this point in 2016, you could get multiple products on page 1 of sponsored by putting a separate campaign. You would not put all ASINs in the same campaign ever. All ASINs in one campaign is always a disaster. But you could, in the old days, take and put different ASINs of the same style and the same keywords in their own campaigns and start to get multiple positions in search. Today, that's not how the algorithm is structured. If it happens, it's not common. So you could try that strategy, but most of the time, it's just going to take your best-selling product and give it more visibility, and you'll have more control by focusing on a single product. But if you were to go here and do like skinny jeans, now when I did this, didn't see this thing, but let's see if I can see it today. I got to get skinny jeans for women. You got this here. Let's just show you. Okay, so there we are. So this is different styles, and this is it. Like Levi's has accomplished this. This is a very aggressive strategy, and you're absolutely right to see it. But man, it's not going to be your standard. I mean, the amount of spend, I can't tell you what Levi's spends monthly, but I know my clients, most of my clients spend at least 10K a day. depending on what you're spending in advertising, this may work. But in the majority of categories on Amazon, that's not the case. So that isn't, it's a good search to look at, and that definitely was easy to accomplish. And they're doing it. So Levi's is up in their ad game, like right here, right now, today. Because as we saw through the whole training series, the skinny jeans was not. We had a lot more of like the wax denim, and we had some other ones like that have now moved down. Right. So for sure, they're doing this strategy, and this is their 7-Eleven and the 7-Eleven here, and they're slimming jeans. So yeah, you can, if you were to try to accomplish this strategy, you have to do it by separating the campaign. Excuse me. So each one of these needs their own campaign for each style. And you'll need to put that kind of big campaign budget on each style. So if you're going to do this, they have each style needs its own campaign. You're not going to be able to do it by putting all the ASINs in one campaign. That would never happen. If I have accomplished this in the past, I haven't even attempted this in 2017 because it's not. First of all, Levi's obviously doesn't care that they're going to get a huge part of their ad spend and sponsored. So this is going to be all their sales coming out of sponsored. So they're going to get very little organic sales because Amazon has made this play with this table here. Which I have this in home a lot. They've made the Amazon brand play where they put their own things they're selling in here on their own brand. So Levi's may have noticed a dip in sales and pushed above the fold for Amazon. That's a good play right here. But know that 70% of the sales in this whole account are going to come out of sponsored ads. I mean, they're going to have a very hard time getting people down here into the organic listings with this much above the fold real estate. So it's an interesting strategy, and it could be built. Just know if you want to build this strategy and test it, be sure that you've got a huge budget on each product in their own campaign, and then you will be competing against yourself on those keywords. And then if your brand is the best selling brand in the category, you could win those spots maybe. But in my experience, they're rotating them in most categories. This is pretty rare that something looks this solid. And Levi's has done a tremendous job on these ads right here. And I guarantee this is a, $30K a day play to do it.
So Liz just wanted clarification. So are all of those Levi's sponsored ads in one campaign with each style in its own ad group?
No. Those would be separate campaigns for each product, competing against yourself on bids. All of them need to rank.
And Julie here, she says, I'm concerned about when to move new search terms plucked from the STR to shop versus scale. Is scale the group where we put customer search terms with 5+ orders, or is that the shop group?
Your shop group is where you test new keywords to see how they're going to perform. You don't have any data on those. It's just modifiers that you have an instinct that define your product. They have really good features and benefits. It describes your product specifically, and you're going to put it into shop. Everything with 5+ orders is going to go into scale. It's only stuff out of the search term with 5+ orders. Scale is designed for a high bid, a lot of rank, a lot of traffic, only on keywords that have proven to perform.
And what do you do with keywords that have 6 clicks but 0 sales? Do you let them just keep running?
Well, that's a good question. You can push them to 10. 10 is for sure a threshold. But if you have 6 clicks and 0 sales, we do, like I had outlined in that process map that we covered Tuesday, there is one kind of differentiator that I look at when it comes to that, and we can do it here. If I'm looking at a keyword and I'm trying to make an analysis in my bulk download, I see if I could find an example here because I'm sure there is one. Okay, so I think we would find it. Really, you're going to see this in the search term report more than anywhere else, though. So if I have 6, okay, so here's where we get this. Okay, so I know based on my historic data in the search term report that my best converting keywords, I don't have a lot of data on good conversions here, but on my best converting keyword, I know that my average CPC is $2.18, right? So $2.18, but this is not good because the click to sell ratio does not average out here. So I'm going to need to kind of look and figure out after advertising for a while, you start to understand keyword wise. This is not a good example because these are kind of overpriced, but you kind of start to look at what is your max CPC that you can pay. So at scale, let's go ahead and see if this will be the right one to use in this example. But normally when I show you guys my reports, and when I do the Levi's stats. Doing that with just changing the keywords from an existing campaign that I run. So if I look at this, okay, so gymnastics leotards for girls is really a targeted keyword. It's super relevant. I've had 25 orders. I know historically, based on the click to sale ratio, that my max CPC can be, somewhere in the vicinity of 62 cents. So you start to kind of understand over time what your good, no, it's not the sun, it should be. You start to kind of understand over time what your average max CPC is. So for this product, it's a little under $1. So if I'm going back into a bulk download and I've got, like, say you're here with 7 clicks, and I start to kind of look at what the CPC is looking like in the campaign manager. I don't really make this decision, as you guys know, and I listed this in my guide. I don't make my decisions on keyword pausing a lot out of these sheets. Most of it's done manually because I'm just doing it all the time as just a habit. But if I come in to look at this, I know that my good CPCs are 95 cents. So if I start to see keywords running at an average CPC right here, look at these CPCs. I know this isn't going to work for me. It doesn't matter how many clicks they have. If I have 3+ clicks here, right? These are orders though. Okay, so let's go to somewhere where there's just clicks. Maybe 0. Let's go to our 0 table. Okay, so say I'm over here in the STR. This is a good place to figure it out though, because you don't get the average CPC in your bulk download. You just get your bid. So if I'm looking at this, but you're going to be doing this in the campaign manager, and I have, let's go ahead and sort this by click so I can show you. Data, we're sort this range. G. Okay. So now I've got this sorted by clicks. Of course, I'm already saying if I'm 10 clicks plus, these are going to get paused, right? These should be in the pause table. And so from here, though, you're saying, okay, we're below 10 clicks, but we still have this crazy game going on. We're getting, it's not working. So you haven't converted any sales, but look how much you've spent. So you've already spent this money and not converted any sales. They're not working for you. So now you can come over here at, well, that didn't work because it didn't do it as data. And I know that my max CPC is 95 cents. So I can start to look at these and say, oh my gosh, this would never work. Like right here. Okay, so I've only had 5 clicks, but my average CPC is $4.36. You'll see this in the campaign manager, not in a sheet. So I do this in the campaign manager. It's in the guide that I finished. It's perfectly outlined. I don't make these decisions in sheets. These are done quickly in the campaign manager every week. But in the campaign manager, I'm going to see, oh man, the average CPC on that keyword, it's right there kind of outlined in the keyword view, is $4.36. I know for this product that my average CPC to work is like 95 cents. I'm going to pause that. I've already spent $21 and I haven't got a sale. And that's another metric you can use, but it really comes in with the CPC. If it's 2 times your max CPC, and you have even 3 clicks, you can already know that if that click costs you 2 times what you can pay, it's most likely not going to tip in your favor. I was going to try to find you another piece of data. And I also have here my max CPA on this product. And this is another metric that's super valuable here. My max CPA on this product, and all of this when you're just optimizing, your max CPA is $12. You've already spent $19 and haven't seen anything. So, I mean, it could tip. You need to get 2 sales or 3 sales to even make this thing viable, and you'd have to see what happened, or you could just pause it. But anytime you're down here with 5 clicks costing you $4, it's never going to work. You have another 5 clicks costing you $3.86. These are going to get paused, as you'll see by the campaign manager pause keywords sheet in the step-by-step. These are going to get paused every week. They're never going to run anywhere. I'm not going to let stuff run that has a CPC that's more than 2x my average.
All right, let's see here. Laura VIP's got a question here. It says, well, first the comment says, thank you, Cherie, for being so positive. You are so kind. One thing that concerns me about reducing all bids is that the ads will drop out of view everywhere and sales will stop. Will this be the case?
Well, when you reduce the bids, you're going to take the sales that you can afford, and you're going to be managing for sales history. You're not going to be managing for scale, and you're just going to take what it does, because that's what you can do. I mean, otherwise you're going to lose a ton of money. Advertising needs to break even to work. That is the key takeaway, right? Advertising has to break even. 2 takeaways. 1, advertising does not need to make you money because that's not what advertising is for. Advertising is a customer acquisition strategy, right? It's about acquiring new customers and acquiring new sales. So no advertising is designed to make you money. Some people like to use it to try to make themselves money, but they're not thinking long view, because the way ad platforms are designed, long view, they're not terribly profitable, right? You're just trying to break even and acquire customers and acquire visibility and market share. And on Amazon, that's so valuable long term. It's crazy how much growth we get in my accounts. So since you're doing it, you've got to break even. That's the whole game with advertising, is if you don't break even, it's not sustainable unless you have venture capital or you have some other source of funding that is designed. Like I did ads at one point for Groupon, and it was absolutely crazy. Like when Groupon came to the strategy room, and I was like, so when, what's our metrics? And I'm, trying to get my cost per acquisition strategy. It was a Google strategy. And what are we doing with this? And they were just like, well, we need to break even in like 18 months. I was like, 18 months? Like they had an 18-month window to break even. I was like, dang, we can spend a lot of money here. Of course, it's always what people want to hear at the agency. So, good stuff on that, but that's so rare. They had tons of venture capital, right? So that's not always the case. So when you're looking at that stuff, if you don't have venture capital, you're just trying to do a direct response, kind of performance-based campaign. So break even is always the case. So you have to break even first and foremost. Regardless of how much traffic you can buy, you can only buy as much as you break even on.
All right. Kind of a long one here from no metrics, but just kind of a long question.
Melissa,
it says my campaign has an exact group where I've increased the bid over time in order to. Oh no,
Melissa.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're cutting out.
Ah, shoot. Okay, is it a little bit better now? Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah, you're jamming. We didn't have any cutout. It just started on that question. No, cut out.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Let me see if I can get out of that. Better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll try this again. And if it's not working, we'll dial into the bridge quick.
Okay.
Okay, so my campaign has an existing shop ad group where I have increased the bid over time in order to bid for rank. Mm-hmm. Now I want to add more keywords to the shop campaign in order to test them. Mm-hmm. If I add the new keywords using the current bid of the shop ad group, the bid ends up inflating the recommended bid such that others can see what someone is aggressively bidding on the keywords. Mm-hmm. If I add new keywords to the shop ad group using the keyword bid, then I need to manage those keywords separately until they can be increased to the same bid as the ad group. What do you recommend?
I would, if I had data showing me in my search term report that those particular modifiers that I'm adding to shop are absolutely converting to sales, I'm going to uncap. I'm not going to worry about the bid being too high. I'm just going to go ahead, because you're never going to have, the suggested bid is going to be so variant across all the keywords. And then it's going to change dramatically when you actually get out in the market and start bidding for rank, that I wouldn't even worry about that. I would just put those into shop at the bid that's already ranking and just let them go and see what happens.
All right, back up here. And another a little bit of a long one again, but again, no metrics, just a little bit of a long question. And this one's from Robert. Robert says, could you help me understand sponsored product ACOS numbers sales made on some parent-child relationships in a bit more detail? For example, if you advertise just Levi's red bandana small as the main ad and a user clicks and buys a Levi's red bandana large, would it count? And if they bought a Levi's bandana small blue, and if they added Levi's jeans during the buy because of frequently bought together, what actually qualifies as a PPC sale and what doesn't?
Nothing. Click to sale. It's a click to sale attribution. At this point in time now, these things change constantly, right? So again, I can't ever say that this is conclusive, because we would need to call Amazon, which I do talk to them every week. We could call Amazon Advertising and talk to them about this. This is a great question. And I had a meeting with them yesterday. I'll ask them on the next meeting. When we go into this, the thing that I'm going to say on that is, in my understanding, and again, always changing, my current understanding of Amazon advertising, and I do tons of campaigns where I'm buying media directly from Amazon, and campaigns where I'm running sponsored products at scale, and campaigns where I do AMS at scale. I mean, I do AMG, I do remarketing, I do display, I do, all sorts of stuff with Amazon advertising, and I do a lot of it directly with Seattle. So I know from my experience, I get data back on these campaigns and from Amazon. So the one thing I know from experience is they have what's called a brand halo that they track. They do track all the metrics that we talk about in these classes. They track them. So they do have what's called a brand halo that they track. So they actually do attribute, when you get to bigger spend and bigger stuff that you're doing directly with them, they do actually attribute all those sales, right? Coming in on different sizes, coming in on different products within what they call brand halo. And I can tell you the number is so significant. It's very high. Now, when you're in sponsored products, as far as what I know today and what I knew from my last conversation with them, in sponsored products, you only get attribution from the click to the ASIN sale. So if I am advertising my best-selling ASIN, we can go back over here to Lizzie's, business report. Okay, in Liz's business report, we can see that she's advertising, we have all these different variations right here, right? These leotards would all be grouped as a similar product. They're super good. They're selling well, all different sizes, right? So I'm going to just go ahead with just this parent, right? So this is where, if I start to look at this kind of grouping here of these tie-dye triangles is the best seller. If someone comes in and I'm advertising my girl's medium, right? This is the one. And this is my child ASIN that I'm advertising. From everything I understand today, and again, it could change. I will ask again, but from everything that I have been told in the very near past, recent past, that this ASIN is all that's attributed in sponsored products. So when they click and they buy that ASIN, I get the attribution. When they click and they buy that ASIN, I get the attribution. In fact, on yesterday's meeting, they actually brought up a 14-day attribution window, which in my experience, it's always been 7 days. So again, these things are always changing, and they were going to check on that for me. So I said, what, are you actually giving it a 14-day window now? Because during the meeting, she had said something about that. So when I look at this, I'm going to say that it's everything I know today, that when someone clicks in here, if they choose to buy these other styles and sizes on the same page, when they self-select, it's not attributed as a direct sale to the campaign. So it's a brand halo. In all the separate tracking I've ever received from Amazon, those sales highlighted in orange would all be brand halo sales. And then the sale that's attributed directly to the child ASIN that I advertise would be the sponsored products attribution. So when you're looking at ACoS, no, you are not seeing brand halo, in my experience.
All right. And Julie's got another question here. Julie says, structuring campaigns and how to do tweaks after we download the STR, format it, and when we pause an ad. Where does all that get recorded?
Okay, one more time again. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Rob's comment. Yeah, Rob, great. If you want to just hire me, and I have an audio technician and a video.
Oh my gosh.
If you want to help us, please. I have no idea. This is like, Rob's asking if we could have a week without audio issues. And I'm like, please bring me a week without audio issues. Because it's like, enough to think about campaign optimization, right? So yes, once again, we have a small audio issue. I was laughing at that because.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I said preaching to the choir. It's just as frustrating for us as it is for you guys, if not more, because we can't get it figured out.
Because we can't find it. It goes all over the place. Like our issues move from one computer to the next. Okay, so go back to that question.
Okay, so Julie's asking, where do these things get recorded at? The structuring campaigns and how to do tweaks after we download the STR, when we format it, and when we pause an ad. Is there a template that we record on that? Or I guess I'm unsure what she's kind of asking here, and I thought maybe it'd make more sense to you.
Dreamfish has asked too, like how they're going to manage their internal documentation. Like for us, we just do the reports and then we archive them and then we do the next report. We don't find any trouble with overlap. I've yet, in all my campaign optimization at scale, had trouble with this data like overlapping in a way that was problematic. So you'll have You make your changes in the STR. You make your changes in the bulk download, like I showed you here. Got this little October tab. You make your changes here, and then you go do it, and then you have this as a record of what you've done. But again, normally I'm going back in the next 30 days, pulling a new 60-day report, and I'm back in action. So it's so ongoing. It's so like rolling over within my accounts because I'm bringing in so many new search terms all the time. It's just kind of like an ongoing rollover. I don't find any in terms of where you're logging these changes, you just pretty much have your reports that you've made changes on and you've downloaded. Of course, you can create any kind of customized log that you need to create that manages metrics that are important to you. But for me, I just work strictly off the reports, and I just do kind of it's almost like hitting the gym, right? It's not so much, writing down what I did is getting it done, right? So again, you just hit the gym and you just get to work. So I think it's kind of like this. I just get the report, I get to work. Next month, I get the report, I get to work. So that's kind of how I flow with this. And then everything, of course, is very well documented in my sheets. Every STR, when I mine it, goes into the campaign outline. Every new stuff goes into my campaign outlines. So I have these sheets as records. But if you need some kind of a ongoing, compiled log, you might want to create something like that.
And then to elaborate on that, Dreamfish just asked, do you ever check the prior month's spreadsheets? For example, when you're doing your October work, do you have any reason to go back and look at September, or is it irrelevant?
To me, it is. And that's going to be, again, up to you and preference and how much time you have. Like if you have just an endless amount of time, like this is the only task in your day, you may want to do that. But in terms of my personal take on advertising, and again, I think if somebody had a way to kind of compile this stuff, it could be interesting to me if someone showed me how the data mattered. But in my experience, because even Amazon, because the competition is changing so quickly, because the cost per clicks are always fluctuating, because competitors, clicks, prices, because those things are changing all the time, I'm far less likely to kind of give any indication to my previous numbers. Unless I'm doing a lifetime every quarter, I like to look at lifetime. You know what I mean? I do like to look at quarter over quarter and lifetime stuff in a deep dive analysis. But that's normally just to see the trends and where there's opportunities and obstacles. But I do like to do, kind of look at those things once in a while, but the majority of the time, the current environment is probably a much more realistic, because even one competitor can come in and skew the whole strategy. So one competitor can come in and start to impact your results. So I feel like you're going to get a better view of what's really happening by looking at your current 60-day report. But, that doesn't mean you wouldn't find some value in a previous report. But to me, I'm normally thinking what's going on right now. And if I have a keyword that's really driving sales, I might be asking myself the question, okay, what's going on with this lifetime?
Rob's going to fly to Kansas and fix your audio issues.
Rob is like, well, goodness, no wonder your audio cuts out. I'm like, I'm not a Vimeo pro. I'm an ad pro.
Yeah, Rob, you're going to have to come to Iowa too and fix mine then. You got a couple of stops to make on your little audio fixing trip. See here. All right. So Liz has a specific question. She's saying, thanks for all your help. When I create a listing for other styles of leotards, should I advertise those as a new listing?
I mean, I don't think you have you could do it to build sales history. Just make sure you're really conscious of what your max CPC is. You won't bid for rank on those. You know in your statistics for all variations, even your best selling variation, that your max bid needs to be somewhere. And I know Dreamfish asked about this too. I just averaged them. You kind of know that your max CPC needs to be in that 95-cent range that we average. So yeah, as long as you set the bids accordingly, you can do that. But I also think that that's when it comes to structuring these ASINs, I think there was some tremendous feedback here from the whole, group in class about getting them into groups and doing different things. So I think you're going to want to, take that into account and really get with Amazing and other Amazon business experts and talk about how to restructure the ASINs. Because from an advertising standpoint, you're going to be able to do it to add history. I would definitely keep that bestseller that we saw get so much traction in here. back over here, this business report. We definitely want these guys on their own because it's just flying, right? These tie-dye, it's ranked. So we know it clicks well. We know people dig this tie-dye style because of the way your business report reads from the unit session percentage and just these different numbers and sales velocity. You can see this one's really popular. It outranked your competitors in pay-per-click, which means Amazon likes the look of it. So in that sense, I would focus most of my energy on that one and then getting it ranked and trying to do more with the organic rank. When I say getting it ranked, I mean organically. And then I think with these other listings, you'll just need to segment them down to where people will self-select. Which again, you know more about the product than I do, but how do people self-select? When we were talking about it earlier, the clearest definition of self-select is when someone comes in and they are going to self-select a size here, and they would self-select a solid color. So if you have someone coming in, if these were not tie-dye patterns and you had leotards in solid colors, so you had a solid pink, a solid blue, a solid yellow, without question, people would self-select both color and size and solids. But like such a good kind of feedback from over here from the class that you would want to segment these into different groupings with all these different patterns. You'd have to think that one through. And how you want to stylize that and make sure that they would self-select. Make sure that it is like if they see this image, they would likely buy the other image,
All right, Robert's question here. He's asking, are you doing organic rank using tactics such as launches and other offsite traffic? Or are you talking more about structure with back-end keywords, etc.? When you have a term that's too shoppy, but you need to get higher on organic.
Now that's an organic strategy, which is completely different. Like I'm only teaching ad strategy here and how to make the back end kind of synchronize with the ad strategy. There's a million different separate, organic ranking strategies. And for me, the only one that I focus on is outside traffic because I'm a traffic person. But I know launch strategies work incredibly well. And you would get those from within amazing.com regarding organic rank.
All right. And then Robert's got another question here. Is using strictly vendor for sponsored product ads always going to be the more difficult compared to using Seller Central due to margins? Or is there any competitive advantage to using vendor on just sponsored product ads?
No competitive advantage. You're going to get the same results. It's just which platform you want to manage in.
All right. Dreamfish has a question here about the book file. Is there any information within the bulk file that tells you to increase the bids or scale a keyword? Essentially, is there any positive information from the bulk file or is it just negative information?
Well, normally it is. It's just about, I use the bulk download. We use the bulk download here on the agency side to just pause, to kind of shut stuff down and really not even pause as much as lower our CPCs when necessary on high volume. But one thing that we did differentiate in that, one thing that we do find, and I put it in your process map, is sometimes you will you'll shut a keyword down, you'll pause it during your weekly optimization, you're kind of moving through it quickly, and then you will come back and sales will have attributed. And then you will find that you'll have it didn't happen in these reports, either of these, but you'll find that you have a small sliver of traffic that kind of tipped over and did well. Like you had a small sliver of traffic that, oh, wow, these had no sales and, 15 clicks, and then I shut it down. And then within the last, 3 weeks since I shut it down, I've now had 3 sales and the ACOS is actually 20%. That does happen. And when that happens, you re-enable those. And that's in the worksheet that we've created on how to use your bulk download file. The workbook, it's still got to be finalized by me after class, which always takes me time. But the workbook does explain the step-by-step, the guide does show you like how to make that decision. We do definitely have stuff that needs to be re-enabled, but it's normally only like a couple keywords and they've only generated 3 sales. You know what I mean? Like max. I mean, they're not going in. You don't pause a keyword with, 10 clicks and turn around and it's got like 45 sales. Won't happen. So normally it's just a few sales have come in. The ACOS looks good and we re-enable them.
All right. And do you see any reason to use software like PPC Entourage or Ignite or any other PPC management software? Or do you still think it's better to manage everything manually using the STR and bulk files in the campaign manager?
No, I just would use my strategies within those tools if it simplifies your workflow. Again, I can't speak to it because there isn't a tool that I would use to manage the campaigns that I manage, because it's just the way I manage campaigns and I do really high volume. So that was another thing. I had somebody, one of the students asked me about like software and using my strategies in software, which I've seen a lot of software, software apps over time that do stuff similar to what I do. But my main thing is strategy. So I personally, being a strategist, am less focused on tools, but if it can simplify your life, I would use them. The only tool that I really advocate for, only because it's the only tool I'm familiar with and that I have had a lot of experience with through one of my clients, is going to be Seller Labs. So I'm a huge fan of Seller Labs, and I think they have the best tool on the market. And I absolutely think they have the best team and the best, which I think team is as important as tools. So they have an amazing team, they have amazing leadership, and they have just tremendous strategy behind that. So my favorite tool in the market is Seller Labs, hands down. But in terms of that, and we do share a client. So I do manage a big high scale client strategy wise that is doing their campaign through Seller Labs tool.
All right. And Hatsfield saying, I'm in the same red ocean as the measuring cups. I'm bidding high on 2 keywords, and my ACOS is off the charts. My best ACOS is from an automatic campaign. Should I back off bidding high on my keywords?
Yeah. I mean, not back off. You got to get sales history. I would not be bidding high on the keywords. I would keep the auto going with a really strong budget because it's giving you category visibility. It's working. If you, because you'll find in these red oceans, you're going to find that in the red ocean, the thing that can save you is just a low CPC. I mean, that's what's going to save these campaigns, is low cost per click, right? So the low CPC is going to get you some visibility in the category. Auto is tremendously useful for visibility in the category. If you can't secure top of search, that doesn't mean you concede manual altogether though, and just focus on auto, because then you're building no keyword-based sales history, and that's a mess too. So you need your manual campaigns. You got to run them, especially if you're not ranked on page 1, but you need to keep those bids really low, and you need to moderate the investment so you're at break even. So yeah, I would keep the manual, and I would put more budget on the auto once your manual is optimized to where you're hitting your target ACOS and you're getting some history on your main keywords.
All right. And then Dreamfish has a question here. It says, you don't pause keywords with 1 to 2 orders if they have a good ACOS, right? Only the ones with bad ACOS. Please confirm.
Yeah, give me that one more time.
Yep, it was, you don't pause the keywords with 1 to 2 orders if they have good ACOS, right? You only pause the ones with bad ACOS and 1 to 2 orders. But we kind of already went over the 1 to order thing.
You don't pause. No, you don't pause any orders with, no. If it has 1 or 2 orders, you can't scale it. You can't start mining keywords out of it and stuff. You don't have enough data. But no, don't touch it. Let it go. Let it keep growing, right? You want it to get some velocity. So yeah, you only pause the stuff that's bad.
Okay, perfect. And then Anne's got a question here. Anne says, referring to the campaign optimization process and the quarterly review, are you using the advertising dashboard we discussed in week 10 to review your revenue and profit increases? And are you pulling a business report from Amazon for the gross profit by ASIN review?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Let's see here. Aren't many products now becoming red ocean on Amazon with pages of similar private labels? So how do you decide when to bid for rank?
You bid for rank as long as you can break even. Even if you're in a red ocean, if you can break even and buy traffic, you need to, because a red ocean requires it, right? I mean, if you're not on page 1, you got to be there. So like if you can break even and get rank, do it always, right? Because you need to sell products. I mean, you have to move a lot of product on Amazon to keep ranked. So you got to move product. So that's the game. And so especially when you have, everything from storage fees to all these reasons, you got to move product. So you got to be selling the product. So if you can sell it at break even, do it. And if you can't, you've just got to use it for sales history.
All right. The new search terms we see in the STR aren't tested as keywords in the shop group. Are they taken back to Helium 10 and tested with new modifiers?
No, the new search terms that you mine, and if you want to go watch, you got to watch the one we did the epoxy campaign. I have it in the campaign manager, but you want to go watch the module. It's called Search Term Mining Demo. I go through that in detail there. I would definitely go take a look at the search term mining demo or the campaign optimization demo that I've already taught in these modules just to help to get some clarity there. But you're really pulling your unique search terms with with 3+ orders. You're actually pulling those out and doing something with them, right? You're actually moving those search terms into scale. And then if you find there's a modifier that shows up across all the search terms that you find, then you could go find additional keywords to test. So hopefully that makes sense.
All right. Hatsfield saying, I noticed when I increased my budget on my campaign slowed down. Is that normal?
You cut out there, Melissa. I wonder if we should dial in.
Let me try here one more time.
I know. I noticed the last 2 weeks your audio started cutting out.
Well, they've been working on wiring things around here, and I see people digging, or if they're just.
Everybody, give us a minute. Let's dial in because Melissa's starting to cut out. So let's dial in, Melissa.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Alrighty. Okay, Melissa, you there? I'm gonna wait for her to dial in.
Yep, I'm dialing in. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna go ahead and pause over here though, because that was you on the computer.
Oh.
There you are.
Are we here?
Hey. Yes, that's a lot clearer. I'm just going to go ahead and call Global Meet. I think we just need to stick with this audio moving forward. All right. Let me see. Can I hear you?
We got about 10 more questions left.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let me get this turned down here. Make sure that's muted. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we already went to do Hotfields. I noticed when I increased my budget on my campaign, my sales slows down. Is that normal?
No, that's not normal. There must be something else going on. You're increasing your budget and the sales slow down, which means there's some competitor or there's something taking those sales. You need to go look at the landscape and figure out why they're declining. You've either lost a key position somewhere. That's most likely it. If sales go down, you've normally lost a key position.
Chris has a question here. Going off the knife example from last week, he had the two similar knives that weren't two parent ASINs, but they share many of the same keywords. He's saying you said to combine the ASINs into the same ad group. Would you launch like that with both together, or start with one product and add the second product later once you've seen how the first ASIN works out, assuming this is totally new advertising for both?
I think it's great to start with the one that has the best sales history. I mean, that's where I would start before I would rotate another one in. But I mean, if you want to get traffic to both to see that, you could do them both. But I would agree. I would start with the one with the best sales history and then rotate the other one in.
Okay. And then the next one here, would you ever turn off PPC if your product is ranked top 5 organically on a majority of your keywords?
If your product is ranked top 5 organically, we've discussed this. You can turn off the PPC, but you can't turn off the PPC. So you can concede keywords, which means you can decide strategically. Like if I was going back over here to this example, I could concede the headline banner. Right. Some of my ads have both headline and sponsored in the top positions. I'm fairly aggressive. If I see something going crazy where I'm getting too high a percentage of paid ads in sales conversions and I'm ranked number 1 organically, 1 to 3, but most of the time number 1, I'll concede headline to try to push people down the page with my stuff and get my organic traffic up. You can concede a certain keyword, right? Like you can concede a keyword that you feel is either duplicate or not necessary or not absolutely crucial. You can concede that. You can lower bids and concede position if you feel confident that that's okay. But you cannot just turn the advertising off or haphazardly start to just shut down bids and budgets. You can't do that. Don't even touch your budgets. Be very strategic about what keywords you're going to be running and what bids you're going to be minimizing. And then know without question, look at your competitive landscape before you do it, because your top competitors will take the spots you concede. So know that you'll never have an ad that you can concede and then no one's going to take the spot. So if you have a very fierce competitor, like in this example, we know this Bayo Hulu is a very, very fierce competitor. If they were advertising next to me and we were 1 and 2, I would be very hesitant to concede, because when they take those spots, it's going to tip them so far over. So depending on how fierce the competition is and how well they're ranked organically and how much of a threat they are to you and your bestseller status and your sales history and your sales velocity, think that one through. But don't just concede advertising, concede keywords, concede bids, but do not just take the whole thing down. And do not just cap your budget to like $20 a day ever.
All right. Fanor's got a question here. Fanor says, how do you gain visibility for the other products that are in my catalog but are not being advertised?
That's going to be a question. You can test your products in advertising and, advertise the ones that are going to be at break even, but just make sure that you're not advertising a lot of products at the expense of the ones that will scale, because only a few of your products in the catalog are going to really get velocity and become best sellers. So you want to be sure that you're paying the most attention to those, and then you can start to get sales history built on other products through a break-even strategy. The strategy we've outlined here today, you'll have a lot more stuff with capped bids, lower bids overall in the ad groups and capping bids in the buy group. So you can do that, but don't do that at the expense of pushing the ones that will scale, because that's where you get the huge wins. The ones that will scale are the ones that are going to blow you away in terms of how much growth and how much revenue and how much profit you're going to take. So be sure that you don't do a kind of peanut butter strategy where you're spreading all your time and energy like peanut butter across all campaigns. It's just like business. Not all opportunities are equal. Not all time invested is equal. Not all money invested is equal. So you always have to be, it's talking about like rob the safe and the train robber presentation. You got to make sure that you're grabbing the stacks of $100 bills, not dollars, right? You don't want to rob the safe and not reach to the back and get the big money. So the big money will be in scale and velocity with Amazon, and everything else will be good money and it will be worth picking up. There'll be some dollars there. Just make sure that you push everything that you can to scale, and then things in your catalog that aren't doing much, you can always do a very moderately bid, good targeted keyword, build sales history.
All right. And then Liz is saying, so to clarify, do the different styles and different ASINs go into their own ad group under my main campaign with modifier keywords?
Okay, one more time on that, Melissa.
Yep. She said, so to clarify, do the different styles, meaning different ASINs, go into their own ad group under my main campaign with modifier keywords? That's from Liz, so the one that we went over today.
Main campaign with modified keyword. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll go. So she's asking. Okay, so she's saying her one more time.
Yeah, the different styles, meaning different ASINs, so her variations with different ASINs, do they go into their own ad group under my main campaign with modifier keywords?
Add your own ad group. I'm not getting that. I'm so sorry. So she's saying. Okay, so she says, so adjusting the volume here. So she's saying that she's got her own ad group. She wants to add. I'm not understanding. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so does she have one main campaign where she puts the different styles into their own ad groups under the main campaign when she uses the modifier keyword?
If you're using modified keywords, which is awesome. So you're saying you have like, you have one that's like a blue leotard, you have a pink leotard, you have a green leotard. The modified keywords would go in their own ad group directing to the blue, to the pink, and to the green. And so, yes. And then if you have a mermaid leotard, it would link directly to the mermaid leotard. And then if you have, whatever is going to be the keyword that actually applies to that modifier and is present in the title is going to be how you match those products up. Now, if someone coming in here for a gymnastics leotard, there is no modifier because as you can see for this gymnastics leotard, they're just looking at any pattern around the world, right? They've gone from rhinestones to scales to stripes to, kind of ombre stuff. It's over the top. So with this one, you don't really have a modifier here. You would need to have a distinct modifier, which is blue, pink, green, rhinestone, mermaid, that kind of thing. And then, yes, you would link directly to the product that features that product and then has that keyword in the title in its own ad group.
All right. And next one here is, if my best converting keyword is a competitor's keyword, where should I place it? Should it go in a single ad group?
No. You would do a competitor's ad group and you would put it in there.
Okay. And then should I put my keywords from a single ad group as negatives for all my other ad groups?
Nope.
See here. Oh, positive note from Rob. Rob says, what online instructor of your caliber offers endless questions? The audio issues are a minor negative compared with the enormous positive of you giving your precious time.
Oh my gosh, you guys have been awesome too. We're all giving our time, right? It's a crazy learning curve, and everyone is giving their time. And
Rob also sent us a picture of a monkey on a laptop. He said that was our tech guy.
That is. Come on now. He's actually fairly savvy. He does some like reality TV show stuff. That's why I picked him. But obviously my set, I got all the best equipment. Okay, but moving on with that, you guys, I forgot to ask you guys, for those of you guys that are here in class, I would super appreciate if you would, in the Amazing platform, give me a review. Only because I think it's really fun to have good reviews, and you guys would ask it for your product, right? We can't be silly. We're in business. So I do want to have really good reviews for the course. And I have gotten so many personal, private good reviews like the one Melissa just read. And we've been getting tons of those every week, like so much good feedback. We don't bore you guys with reading our fantastic feedback. We do it after class. And we're also pleased that everybody is getting what they need out of this. So if you do have any review of this class and you have taken things away, I would be so appreciative if you would go into the Amazing platform and post a review. And of course, that's only the good reviews.
Yeah, just a good review. It looks like I've got about 4 questions left here.
And I don't know how you do it, but Carolina, a couple people have posted reviews there, but I don't know how you do it. So maybe it's not even easy to access. Melissa, will you ask about that with Andy or someone right now in the Slack thread? Like, how do people put a review down? Because we've been getting these awesome reviews and I would love to have them, in the review section. Robert's asking me, I don't know, Robert, do you worry about violating the terms of service when you ask for reviews? That's what I'm saying, right? Like, yeah, there, I don't know. I think, sometimes we just don't worry about that stuff.
Selection bias. I like that. That's pretty good. Okay, here, let me get this one in there. And then, while we're pausing questions really quick and going through all this stuff, we did get the class structure layout changed, correct? I saw that Kaylee had posted a few things with
Yes.
amazing going back and forth. So the labels are now more organized, correct?
Yes, the class video archive is tremendously organized. It looks fantastic. And now I just need to get, it's a coding thing where they need to change the resource section to list the files and templates and process maps. We need to get the resource section a little differently organized versus just a bunch of PDFs, right? That's hard for you guys to figure out, right? Oh, look at all these PDFs. So right now the resources are aligned with the classes in some ways, but there's a resource section of all the PDFs that we need to get reorganized. But Mike over at Amazing told me that was a coding situation. I have to get it in the queue. So I don't know what day they're going to do that, but we did get the video archive completely reorganized yesterday.
All right. And they're checking on submitting reviews. So I'm going to wait to hear back from Andy or Mike.
Yeah, that's great. No, and I just would be appreciative because, I mean, again, I appreciate everybody's great feedback. So I just wanted to say that.
Yep. Dreamfish has a question here, and I'm not sure if it has enough information to answer, but I've got some metrics here. So take a couple notes there. Says, I've been following the system for the past 4 weeks, and I've noticed my overall ACOS hasn't dropped. So 4 weeks ago, it was at 56.9%. 3 weeks ago, it was at 58.7. 2 weeks ago, 57.3. 1 week ago, 56.4. What could I be doing wrong?
Well, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. You should have certain ad groups. You should have certain keywords, right? The whole optimization here is to figure out which keywords are coming in within your target ACOS. Your average ACOS needs to be looked at, but you should be able to granularly start to optimize this where your scale group is very well optimized at a good ACOS. Keywords that have a high ACOS have either been moved or paused. Your overall ACOS, it shouldn't really be above 50 if you're getting really good keywords out with good ACOS, right? You should, through this system, be able to manage your ACOS at the keyword level and manage everything through the keyword level where you're bringing in new search terms every month with higher performance, higher sales velocity, lower ACOS, and then you're taking the stuff out that doesn't work by either pausing it or moving it. So it's kind of whether it's going to happen over 30 days is questionable, but it should happen within ad group by ad group. So your scale ad group should only have keywords that come in at the right ACOS. You should have keywords like when we went into that epoxy campaign, we should have keywords when we went into the bubble campaigns. You should have keywords that are just jamming with high velocity at killer ACOS. And the goal of this is to keep those moving and get everything else out of your way and give those keywords more scale through single segmenting and more velocity through search term mining. So when it comes to an overall average ACOS, hopefully it's happening, ad group by ad group, and it's happening from scale to your singles, to your brand, which should have like a 5%, 10%, but you should be able to look ad group by ad group. And if you're doing it keyword by keyword, you shouldn't be having like this kind of consistent 50% ACOS.
All right. And Chris has a question here. He says, how do you deal with split testing content or price on a listing with a tool like Splitly when you also have sponsored ads running? We're trying to raise conversions and profits, but those tests obviously impact ad results too.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to just take those into consideration and not stop testing, though. You know what I mean? You're just going to have to take those split tests into consideration as you go through it.
And I do have an answer for those reviews, but I'll wait till after we're done with questions.
Yeah, please. And then the other thing with that on your Splitly stuff is that's a really cool tool. And you might want to look at the ways that you can actually leverage advertising to get data on the splits. So normally with advertising, you would have like your control, right? So you have a landing page right now that you run in ads that's considered the control. This is the one that's got the best performance over time, right? So when it comes to split testing, we're saying this is our control lander. It's landing page and, the real world, and it's Amazon page here. But this is our control, page. This is the control that we use for everything that does this type of performance that we scale. And now you're trying to beat the control by putting a new split on it, which means you're going to split maybe the title, you're going to split the keyword, kind of keyword selection and positioning. You're going to split your bullet text and copy, your content, your brand enhanced content. You're going to do a bunch of stuff on this split, I imagine. And each one you're going to do one by one to see which ones lift the total session unit percentage, right? So, or conversion percentage in Splitly. So with that, you may want to also take keywords in your ad campaigns that have historically done well for you, and then also kind of split the variation, from Splitly, if it's possible to do it that way, to kind of actually get conclusive data from ads, from cold traffic, from keyword to page, to see which one's going to do best. It's very complicated. It's something you have to work out, over with the guys at Splitly, asking them, how can I, use these split tests within my ad campaigns, to actually test the variations. But when it comes to advertising, there's no better way than to split test a landing page than to do it with advertising across keyword by keyword, because you're going to absolutely know conclusively if it actually increases performance on cold traffic on that keyword search.
All right. So when you calculated your average CPC, does it matter if you average the ones that aren't working, or the ones that you're going to move to buy?
No.
Or can you just average the ones that are working with less than target ACoS?
Yeah, see, that was funny when I had very limited data here. So this would not be the best example of an average CPC, which I was saying. There's not enough data here to get it. You really need to get the average CPC from the search term report, but you need to be looking at a lot of orders, right? Like when I showed you guys calculating like average CPC and the best target CPC earlier in another session, when I showed you one of my accounts, I had like 800 orders on a keyword, 600 orders on a keyword, 500, 100, 50, 20 even. This keyword is the only one with enough data to give me this 25 orders, a conclusive CPC that I know works at scale. So what you're doing when you look for the average CPC is you're looking at the keywords that drive like 80% of your orders, right? The keywords that drive 80% of your orders in the search term report. And you're looking at those 80%, the 20% that do this, those few keywords, there's only gonna be like a handful of them, 5 to 10 keywords. What's the average CPC on those, right? When you get something scaling, which means it gets tons of impressions, tons of clicks, tons of orders, tons of spend, which CPC holds steady? You know what I mean? Which one actually is kind of manageable for you? So I think with that, this is not enough data to really do an average CPC. I would definitely not take everything into account. I wouldn't even be looking at stuff with high ACoS or one order. I'd be in my kind of top 20% STR sort, really looking at the same kind of keywords that I've moved into single keyword scale groups, right? So the same keywords that are going into scale, the same keywords that are segmented into singles, those are the ones I want to see average CPC on, because that's what works at scale.
All right. And what if my auto campaign is running high ACoS after adding negative? I need to pause it even if it means not having category visibility, or should I keep it going for now if I'm able to reduce all my bids manually?
Yeah, if you can reduce the bid to a break-even ACoS, it could work for you. The problem with auto is you have no control over the targeting. So if it's getting a lot of clicks and no sales, or the ACoS isn't promising, or it's over 50%, it's very, very, very hard to optimize auto, because Amazon's giving you remnant traffic and they're showing you in places where it doesn't work. And then you're also talking about auto, and just so you know, this is Kirsty, right? This is Lure.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is Kirsty. This is the girl with the measuring cups. So when we're talking about these measuring cups, the main thing to think about here is, we already talked about this. You would be very challenged in this category to convert auto traffic, because these are all so similar. Sponsored products related too. Man, this is a red ocean, right? We've just got these guys here, these guys here, these guys here. So this is going to be a challenging place to convert traffic, because it's going to be so commodity based that they're going to go ahead and look for the lowest price. They're going to be looking for low price. And then, from a style definition, it could be challenging to get this to work. So when I go through this, the sponsored products related, there's so many that are similar. You may find that it's kind of very challenging to get these to work as auto campaigns because of the similarities and it just could be hard. So I think on that one, if your auto's not working, it would be one of those examples that it's tricky, because it also looks, if you come down here to like customers who bought this item also bought, you can also see that they did this kind of funny thing where it's not funny, it's very common. Like, this is definitely being added to cart with a lot of other stuff. It's kind of random, right? People are buying tongs and they're buying these measuring cups that are glass, and they're looking to bake something, obviously. Then they're also peeling potatoes. They got a chef's knife in their cart. So you kind of see that it's all over the place. So not only would the category itself be a bit broad, like, showing your ad up on pages that are not super related, then you also have this issue with this similarity of products up here that would throw it off in terms of your click to sale ratio. So yeah, I think on this one, it wouldn't be shocking if auto wasn't super successful.
All right. And I'm going to post where to leave that review. I did get all that figured out. So I'm going to post that as a public comment here in a minute.
Okay, thanks.
Make sure that goes through. Of course. Okay, so Chris has a question here, and he says, if you're launching a new product and it's searched and purchased under several keywords that are synonyms, the market calls it by several different things. How do you choose the main target keyword for the product title and related advertising? Do you go solely off of volume searches, or do you work with other metrics? It seems like you can go in a couple different directions.
You got to test them. You're going to need to test all keywords to the product listing and see which ones get the most, velocity, get impressions, clicks, and sales. You're not going to really know that without testing it. There's no way to know. Again, keyword tools will give you data like a relevance score, which is a high probability. You can pull your top 10 competitors and see what they're doing in terms of they have a density that shows which keyword is favored, but you won't know. You'll never know till you test it. So my suggestion would be to test on as much of a limited budget as possible and figure that answer out based on the search terms that come back. But I would test all the modifiers, all the synonyms. I would test them all, and then I would look at how they come through in the search term report.
Okay, Hatfield's question here is, when you run into red ocean, he says, I'm up against competitors who have almost identical products, but they've dropped their prices. Do you adjust prices to compete? I remembered earlier you said adjusting prices seems to mess up the history and the algorithm.
Adjusting your price does not mess up the history and the algorithm, but adjusting your price messes up your margins and your internal reporting. So when we base everything in advertising on conversions, we have to base it on what's the cost per click, what is the conversion rate of the keyword. So when you start to, and then what's our margin, which is what determines ACoS. ACoS is a margin situation. How much margin do you have to break even? So when you look at margin and then CPC and conversion, price is going to impact a lot of that, all of those factors in some way. It's definitely going to impact conversion, and it's definitely going to, in a favorable way, you hope, and it's definitely going to impact your margins, though, which will impact what you can pay for CPC. So all of your key factors in advertising are impacted by price. And advertising traditionally is not a low price strategy unless you have a very high volume manufacturing advantage where you can be a low price provider, like a Walmart. You could be a low price provider, but do it at enough scale that it ends up differently. But if you're doing a branded strategy, like you're doing here with like amazing.com or Amazon, and you're doing like an FBA, which is a branded strategy. If you're doing a branded strategy, then low price is not normally a good advertising strategy because you need more price and more margin to compete in the marketplace. So when we go out to like say just big markets like say Google traffic or even Amazon traffic as well, but if you're doing a big campaign, you have to be able to pay more to acquire a customer than your closest competitor. That's kind of how you win. So you don't really want to be doing low price strategy in advertising because you need as much money as possible to pay to acquire that customer at break even without losing money. So having a higher capability on the CPA is really key to big scale, big competitor strategy. So with that in mind, lowering the price is not normally a good one for advertising. And then it won't impact the algorithm in any negative way. It's just simply going to impact your own internal metrics a lot. So when you start to adjust price, you can be prepared for hopefully an increased conversion, but also less room on your cost per click in the competitive space, because you can only pay less now because you have less margin.
All right. And Chris has a couple of follow-ups here. You said some of the products you test with advertising, you can't really get to work no matter what. Does your definition of get to work mean scale or massive scale, or just that it's not profitable? What's your recommended threshold to kill an entire campaign?
Well, we do. I mean, we do go both directions. We don't really kill. We just don't scale it. You know what I mean? Like, so absolutely. That's such a good question. So without, all of my clients, of course, have ASINs that don't scale, and we just lower everything to a point where we're breaking even and we don't lose money, and we're still building history on our most important keywords. We do that across all of the accounts. So we don't necessarily kill stuff that's not working. We just make sure we reduce the ACoS to a point across all ad groups that it can just be managed. And we always still do the exact same strategies for those products. So we still mine search terms because there's still gold in those. Like I had covered here earlier with this particular product. With this particular product, this is essentially, she's still going to get sales history on some big keywords like measuring cups. And this she's going to be able to mine some of these new variations. The measuring cups and spoons set, that one's already been mined, but she's got, when she comes across new variations that are actually relevant, those would still go into the scale keyword group. So we're still mining the keywords. It's just very low key. We're not getting as much velocity or traction or new variations. We're still using the same strategy. We're just lowering the bids across all ad groups to kind of keep them within the target ACoS. So yeah, you have two directions, but then from there, just know that campaign is where it is. You know what I mean? That product is where it is. And you're not, I imagine, in this Amazon game to not win or to play too small. And I can tell you, it's these products that get velocity and scale that really make the money. You know what I mean? When you're looking at profitability month over month, quarter over quarter, the ones that are clearing, $1 million in profitability, that is literally going to be a scaled product, because Amazon is like this train, right? I mean, there's a big safe in there. It's a big marketplace. So when you take a category, it's very lucrative. So would I manage these for sales history to keep moving my catalog and keep everything balanced? Absolutely, we do. We do, because the inventory has to move. It has to sell. You need the history. But you move on immediately, still looking for those products that are going to get scale, because in our campaigns, those are the ones that are just absurd, the amount of profit that they generate. Absurd. Right. I mean, to where I sit down with my financial advisor and go, you got to just see what the numbers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm shocked, and it's not my stuff, but I'm shocked at how much my clients do on single products at scale. So without question, it's you definitely don't want to stay too long in these kind of, the moderate products are going to stay moderate, but be sure you're looking for those big wins, because they are big when they win.
Mm-hmm. And then, Chris, to follow up to your answer, when testing synonyms, are you changing the title at the same time as the keywords that you're testing?
No, you're going to need to figure out which keywords are driving sales, and then you're going to probably modify your title. If it's a new listing, you would modify your title based on that data. Again, you've got a unique product there, and I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But we get into these different kind of wild worlds of like, is it coffee, which means it's the ground, it's whole bean, it's K-cup. Those are just different products. Those synonyms are not synonyms. Is it like the knives, where you have like a hunting knife, a kitchen knife, and a steak knife? Those are not synonyms. Those are not the same product. So I would need to know, it's hard for me to say exactly how this is, because it is fairly rare that there are multiple synonyms that describe a product. It happens. It does. It happens. But high volume synonyms, I'd have to see it to get it. But yeah, if it is exactly as you describe it, where the synonyms are going to kind of all drive sales at velocity, you would see which ones work, testing advertising. And then if it's a new listing, you would probably optimize your title based on the data.
Right. And then the two examples we used today, Liz and Lure VIP, they just want to know if you're going to send them out the examples.
I am. And so just a quick note on that, Lure. I needed the bulk download to do any kind of actual ad group optimization like I showed you guys here. And I'm done with all my demos for this season. But when I come in here to, let me see if I go to Liz's, the bulk download helps me do a few things. If I were to just adjust ad group level bids, I get it here in the bulk download because I get a current bid, right? The bulk download is our only report that gives us current bids in the report. So you got to love it, right? You need to see what you're currently bidding if you're trying to adjust bids. So this is why I use the bulk download over top of a keyword report, because I need this current bid metric. So I think because I'm a aggressive bid for rank first, then kind of concede. So I need to see where I'm bidding at to get it right. I just want to see it to compare it. So this is why I use the bulk download. Plus it gives me a segment from campaign stats, total. Bulk download will give you this. And then bulk download will also give you these kind of ad group stats. Now, if I were just to do ad group level bidding, I would be maneuvering my ad group level bid right in here. You know what I mean? But I don't have this file for you, Lure, so I didn't do this. But I did, yours based on the search term report, which is where you can see the data. But there's nothing, I will send you back the search term report that I mined and organized without question, but I didn't have a bulk download. And Liz, yeah, yours are all here. So I'll send those to you. They're done and you can have a look.
Okay. And then Julie just asked, do you do the bulk download and then the bulk upload?
You could do them manually. You know what? There's a bulk upload option, but it's complex and it's not necessary unless you have a mammoth campaign with a lot of keywords that you're optimizing. Look at the changes in this. I mean, it's like literally you got to go in and manually, like you pause, like, what is this? We're going to save $8,000 in spend right here. We're going to minimize $8,000 with, what is this? 5 to 13, 7, 8, 9, 10 with 13 changes. So there's 13 changes to do here. It would take you 10 minutes. Super easy. You don't need to do a bulk upload for that. If you had like 150 changes, yeah, but 13 changes, you could do those quick and save a lot of money.
That's it. I think that's all the questions for today.
Yeah, that's great. We went through it. So yeah, if you have the bulk download, Lure, you're going to want to use your bulk download to make your adjustments without question. So go ahead and you'll be doing the stuff that we went through today, and you're just going to be, but you don't even need it to make them because you're just going to be going in ad group by ad group and just lowering your bids so you see a target A cost. I would be just manually lowering those like 20 cents at a time, 10 cents. I mean, just depending on how you up them, just continually like lower those bids. You know what I mean? Just kind of continue to lower the bids till you see it hits your target A cost. Melissa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, good. I was so glad that didn't cut you out. Sometimes that does that. Okay, good. All right, guys. So that is going to be a wrap, and it's been an awesome session. Let me give you the next dates. I have to put together a whole presentation on our product selection, which I'm very excited about after this class. But that's going to take me a ways, and I know before I can do that, I've got Black Friday on my schedule. Woohoo! And that's going to be hammer time for me because I am going to be in the trenches with some big campaigns and some nasty competition. So Black Friday for me is an ongoing affair. Like seriously, like I do nothing but that for like weeks. So that's going to happen for me. So it'll be early December when I can do the product research, but I'm going to do that. And the other thing about this is, but I do have 2 other dates. Let's put them on the calendar now as a group. We're going to do the Q&A through the end of the year. And I'm really glad we are because we're coming into holidays. So I'm so glad we're going to be together for holidays. So I'm going to do a Q&A on Tuesday, November 20th. And Melissa, if you could put these on your calendar if you're around.
Of course.
We're going to do a Tuesday, November 20th Q&A. And then we're going to do a Tuesday, December 4th Q&A. And the reason that I did this is because I think it's really key that we talk about our campaigns right before Black Friday. But be working on all this stuff. Don't let it happen. We're making big changes that week because that's not fun. But we are going to be kind of talking about Black Friday and kind of what's going on with that. Just my own overview for you guys. And then the Tuesday, December 4th is again like another kind of holiday optimization, right? So I think both those dates will be the most helpful in terms of when you guys will have a lot of questions and you're kind of pushing into holiday. So we're going to do November 20th and December 4th for our Q&A monthly sessions. I'll put a date on the calendar for my product selection class because I want to spend time on that. I don't want to rush that one out just to get it done because I have a lot of stuff I want to share in that, and I don't want to rush. I don't want to push with my calendar going into Black Friday. So we're going to do that probably the first week of December, probably the same week I do that Q&A, I imagine. First week of December, I'm going to try to get that product research module out for you guys. Members area is being reorganized. Videos are done. We'll keep working on the resources this week and next. So all of your resources, if you don't see them, they'll be posted and organized and structured no later than end of next week. But we've already got all the videos restructured. Now it's time to get all the PDFs uploaded and restructured, and any revisions that need to be made. I know Dreamfish, you had mentioned you were totally dialed in. We have revisions to the STR that's a little more detailed, and we have a third STR doc that answers a lot of the questions that we've been answering here in class. So like a third search term report analysis, and then we have a bulk upload analysis. Everything else is done. Back-end search terms will be up there today, and so will your pausing keywords for your weekly stuff. Process maps are done. You guys have those, but we're going to get everything organized. Yes, and in terms of time, we're going to be doing the in terms of our time, we're going to be doing our 12 high noon, right? You know that it is still high noon is what we're going to do. And so super excited to do those high noon on Tuesday on November 20th and December 4th. I'll make sure, unless there's a conflict with Amazing Schedule, those are on my calendar already. And oh my gosh, you guys, this has been such a fun session. It makes me think too, right? Like it's really hard to be like, oh my gosh, it's our last session together. It makes me think about what I do next too. I started this being super overwhelmed, and I'm ending it just being super in love with you guys, and had such a good time teaching this class, and it was so much fun. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Until next time.